Hey GV gang, welcome to a ranking. We're ranking the Switch 2 launch lineup. The Switch 2 is coming out in 2 weeks to the day that we're recording this video, so it's coming real soon. I'm joined today by Daniel Alba.
It's so good to see you. 2 weeks, Brandon, already? It flew by so fast ever since the Switch 2 announcement. That's crazy.
Yeah, when the Switch 1 came out, I was a sprightly young man, and the Switch 2 is coming out, and you can probably see it. I have a single white beard hair now.
We changed so much, Brandon. We were so young back then.
And now we're old and decrepit. Welcome to GVG. So we've got a tier list here. We saw some folks in our Discord doing this, and we thought it would be fun to also take a crack at this right away. We're just going to go right down the line. We're starting with Bravely Default HD. Daniel, have you played this game before?
I have. I played the original on 3DS when a friend let me borrow it, and I unfortunately, I don't think I ever returned it to them. Sorry, Zach.
Oh, you're that guy?
I'm sorry. No, if they didn't. They're one of those people, like, they'll play a game and when they finish it, they just won't ever touch it ever again. And so I think multiple people have done that, and he's just like, it's okay, man, just go ahead. But I still feel bad. One day, Zach, if you're watching this somehow, I'll get it back to you if you want it back. But
a copy of Bravely Default HD Remastered shows up at his door instead.
Yeah, that's true, bro. If you want if you want the HD version for your Switch 2, I will happily get you one. But I do have a lot of memories playing the original on the 3DS. That game, man, it did so many things in the JRPG genre that I feel like are kind of a standard in some games now today. For example, like encounter rates, you can make them way more abundance or not at all. And just speeding up battle itself. It's so funny, when we saw the reveal trailer for Switch 2, it was just exclusively sped up battle the entire time, to the point where it just looked like it was in ×4 mode. But yeah.
Encounter rates are like one of those things in old RPGs that make me tense. Like, because I don't know, this might be a symptom of ADHD for all I'm aware. But like when I'm on the overworld, I have a goal in mind. Like, I need to do this, especially if it's like a puzzle, like in Pokemon. And I'm like, okay, I need to do this thing. But then I get into a random encounter and I'm like, okay, now I have to battle. And then I get back to the overworld and I'm like, okay, what was I doing? So having the ability to turn them off or change the actual rate is super cool. I myself haven't played Bravely Default. I played, I think, the demo on 3DS, but I never ended up picking up the full game. That was my pre-RPG era.
Oh, that was Brandon's era. Yeah. This game was, the original release was called Bravely Default Where the Fairy Flies, and now they've gone back to the actual Japanese translation of Flying Fairy, which I thought was pretty interesting. But
was it called Where the Fairy Flies here in the US? Yeah,
it was a different title.
Oh.
I know that specifically because of a certain plot twist that happens. But they play with the name a little bit. But yeah, now it's back to its original Flying Fairy title, which I think it was pretty nice of it, honestly. I guess, yeah.
So if you were to give this a ranking on the list, what we know about the game is it's an HD version. They didn't really touch a whole lot of the game, like from an asset perspective. We saw that like some of the backgrounds and outside areas are nicer looking. We did unfortunately learn that a lot of the towns are AI upscaled instead of, remastered.
Yeah,
I knocks it down a few points for me.
I saw that on your video, and there was like that one gate where you can clearly tell like the individual lines are just kind of blobs, and just like, oh man, that's kind of lazy. And I'm just like, in the first place, like, it pretty much is just the 3DS game kind of just upscaled. It's not, it doesn't look like really Default 2 at the very least. They could have done something with that, but
yeah, like I find the visual upgrade here kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, So, I mean, it's still a good game. There's that certain point everyone will talk about. When it happens, you'll either love it or you'll hate it. That actually had me stop the game for a couple months because I was just kind of like fed up for a bit.
Believe it or not, I'm aware of what you're talking about. This is one of those things that was like so big that like my friends that were playing it were telling me about it. So I am interested in playing it. I am a little less keen to maybe get it right at launch. I might get flack for this, but I'm thinking it might go in C.
As someone who's played it, it's still a really good game. I would put it probably at a B tier.
Since you played it, I'll put the weight in your direction and say B.
All right.
I don't want to not play it and then call it bad.
I appreciate we're getting this, but there are some aspects of it that I feel are a bit kind of they didn't put their whole heart into it, but it's still a good game. So I just put it in the middle of the road for B.
But you got mouse mini games now, so obviously this is the best game ever made.
That's true. First JRPG with mouse mini games, perhaps.
That could be true.
Breaking grounds here.
So moving on to a different RPG. We actually have a few RPGs here in a row. This one is very different. It's Cyberpunk 2077. This is the version with Phantom Liberty. And we've gotten some footage of this game over the last couple days running on Switch 2, and I'm honestly kind of gobsmacked. They have a like Steam Deck profile for playing this on Steam Deck, and the two don't even compare. The Switch 2 version just blows it out of the water.
It's just crazy how far this game has come. Like, the initial reviews of this game were just awful. It was incomplete. There were issues with the game, and over time, the devs have just kind of brought it back from the brink, and now it's like really well respected. And the version has all the DLC included as well. Looking at it, as you were mentioning, looking at it, the Switch 2 footage, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, this is running on a console that's essentially a handheld, and I'm excited to see like renewed opinions of this, because I think a lot of reviews back then, no one really went back to re-review it since then.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see what the opinion of this game is now for those same reviewers.
Yeah, this is kind of like the showstopper piece for Switch 2, like from a third-party perspective. I think that carries a lot of weight, especially with how good the game is looking. I remember when Witcher 3 was getting ported to Switch, and I remember seeing it and thinking, well, that's ugly. It worked, and that was impressive on its own, but I feel like Cyberpunk is coming without like a major concession, right? Like, there's not something horribly wrong with it that you kind of have to ignore. The game is just the game, and that's pretty exciting. And I think, because it also has cross save, like you can bring your save over from another platform and keep playing. I think I'd be willing to put this in A tier.
Yeah, I was thinking the same as you. Probably an A tier for Cyberpunk. We're just gonna land it right there. Well done.
Good job, Cyberpunk. You did
We're
it.
proud of you. You've come so far.
Moving on, we've got another RPG that I know you're excited about. I'm excited about. I've been holding off playing the first 2 chapters of this, waiting for it to be complete.
Oh,
it still
really?
won't be complete, but like, there's enough here that I think I'm ready to pick it up. And that's Deltarune. Oh God, it's Deltarune.
Man, it's like an event whenever Toby Fox makes a post about Deltarune, no matter how big, how small. And people were really excited when they saw him posting like, oh yeah, it's planned to come out 2025. Some of us were rolling our eyes thinking like, sure it will. But yeah, it's coming out this year. Chapters 1 came out a while ago, and then chapter 2 came out like years after. And they specifically were saving 3 and 4 to be together. I think there's going to be 7 chapters total. So we're pretty much going to be halfway through the story with this now. 1 and 2 still free if you want to jump into that right now. If you get Deltarune chapter 3 and 4 on Switch 1, you also get it for Switch 2. So that's very nice.
Oh yeah, it's a cross-buy game, which is I'm glad that that's a practice that will apply to Switch 2, especially in light of a lot of the other games on this list that may or may not have a similar option available. Yeah, it's super cool that chapters 3 and 4 are launching day and date with Switch 2. This is a great game to get on launch days. It doesn't cost a lot. Undertale's available on Switch 1, which means you'll be able to play it on Switch 2 as well. I think this is an S tier.
You haven't even played it. No, honestly,
Undertale's one of my favorite games of all time. Like, that's how much confidence I have in Toby Fox.
Yeah, I mean, if you've played Undertale, you have pretty much the exact idea of what you're getting into as far as like its art style, its humor. There's a lot of brand coded humor in Deltarune. I'll tell you right now.
I'm ready for it.
And it's just a lot. It's just fascinating. I love the battle system as well. It kind of is an evolution of what you play and experience in Undertale. It's just I don't know. It's just a really it's a feel-good game as well. There's a lot of references to other media, nerdy culture, anime, and the other games. And yeah, it's just something that's right up my alley. I love how you're gonna put it in S tier if you haven't played it yet. I'm also, I don't know, I'm gonna be reviewing this game as well, so I'm just kind of already a little biased about it. But if we put it in S tier, you think anyone's gonna get mad at me for just dropping it right there?
I'm sure plenty of people are going to get mad about everything we say in this entire video. So,
that's true.
I don't care.
Why not?
We're putting it in S tier, baby.
Putting it where we want to. Come at me.
Moving on, we have a game that I know you are, we're both very excited for. Fast Fusion. This is another entry in Shinen's Fast series. We had Fast Racing on Wii, Fast Racing Neo on Wii U, Fast RMX on Switch, and they're coming around again for another Nintendo launch with Fast Fusion, an actual brand new entry, unlike Fast RMX, which was a expanded, enhanced port of Fast Racing Neo. I'm really excited.
I'm really excited too. People know I really love F-Zero and like the futuristic racing genre, and of course this feels a bit different than that, but it's definitely something that is inspired from it, much like the Wipeout series as well. But Fast, yeah, I've always loved the Fast series. And it's just so funny that these developers, I can always just be confident that the devs will be there on launch with a Fast game at this point. And yeah, this looks incredible from what I've seen though so far, and affordable, which is pretty important as well compared to the other titles we have on here in comparison.
This game is $15, and it's going to have crazy visuals. Like, Fast RMX still looks gorgeous, and that's a Switch 1 game, so Shinen know what they're doing. This is going to be another showpiece for the console. I think content-wise, it's going to feel a lot smaller than Fast RMX. I can't remember what the final track count is, but it's significantly smaller. But also, we don't know a lot about the game in general. Like, we had one teaser trailer, a little bit of footage in the Switch 2 Direct, and that was it. We know about some of the performance modes. We know that they're aiming for a 4K 60 FPS quality mode in a future patch, which is super cool. But I would like to, see the game before I buy it.
Same here. Yeah, I feel like I've seen, pretty much just the trailer footage, and that was it so far. I'm just going off of the fact that I really like the Fast series, and the fact that it just looks awesome and is a great deal. But yeah, the content is a lot smaller than what we're used to. So, I don't know. I'm wondering where you think this would land on a tier list with these titles. I know it's somewhere up here. I don't know. It's gonna be like
it's hard to say. I think I'm actually teetering between A and B, but I'm leaning A. I would want to rank it higher because I love the Fast games, but like we don't know enough yet.
Same here.
So I think probably these aren't technically ordered in the ranks, but I'd say bottom of A right now.
Yeah, as far as we're concerned, it's going to be probably a boring tiering list because we're going to be like, usually we're very aligned in our opinions of these games, so.
Well, that might be different with this next one. Fortnite.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Fortnite.
I have transformed over the last few years into a Fortnite-pilled brain rot human. I used to be very critical of Fortnite because it's what the new kids are playing. I ain't playing that stuff. I like Mario, right? But actually, Fortnite's really fun. It's become more than what it launched as. Like you had Fortnite Save the World, which was the original concept. Then it took on the Battle Royale idea and blew up. And now it has Rocket Racing from, the Rocket League team. It has Fall Guys stuff in it. It has 2 separate Lego modes in it. It has grown substantially. And, every season's wildly different. They're doing a little Star Wars mini season right now, and you have blasters, so they took out ammunition. There's no ammunition this season. It's all they're all lasers. And I like that the game can change so much, and it has events that like everyone tunes into because what they do is wild. That said, this game runs like butt cheeks on Switch 1.
Well, to say, I feel like I'm getting the advertisement to play Fortnite today.
Buy your V-Bucks now.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed like the games like Fortnite or Fall Guys, they perform a lot more poorly on the Switch compared to the other platforms it's available for. But I guess really this game, it really has kind of evolved. I've watched it change into so many other things with so many different characters being added from like anime as well, to the point where it's just like, this is their own Everybody Is Here that Smash Brothers will never be.
I play as Piccolo most of the time. Teaming up with Hatsune Miku and Master Chief and Ryu from Street Fighter. Like
from Streets.
Ryu from Streets. Yeah, the game is just a big meme at this point, but like what's there is actually good, and I think having this on launch day is the smartest thing they could have done. I'm sure that there will be some controversy over this, but I don't see how it couldn't be an S tier.
In an S tier?
I think it's an S tier. You gotta have Fortnite at launch.
Oh no, everyone, what do I do? Because I haven't really played a lot of Fortnite. What do I say about this?
Daniel's the one who's gonna tame me here.
I didn't expect like a S tier for Fortnite. I'm at a crossroads right now. I need to phone a friend and ask an opinion. Steve?
Steve plays Fortnite. I think he'd agree with me.
Oh my god. Can we put it at least as an A tier? Just kind of.
I think if you put it as an A tier and I put it as an S tier, I think it has to be an A tier. I think for a game to be an S tier, we have to both say it's an S tier. I
respect that this game has really given all the options to people. It's become a lot more than it started out as. But yeah, I'm just gonna. I know this is blasphemous from someone who probably doesn't have as much experience in the game, but I think an A tier is going to be the nice middle ground between us.
Look, knowing our audience, they're cheering right now that you dethroned it from S tier. I used to be that guy, but things change. So yeah, I think A tier is perfectly respectable. Next up is Hitman, which I don't know if you've ever played Hitman, but these games are super fun.
Oh yeah, I've played a couple of the games, and it's so interesting to formulate different ways to kill. Mm-hmm. You can get really creative with it. There's usually always a set path to assassinate somebody. It's funny to say, but you can get really silly and creative with it. I'm a fan of using the exploding duck when possible. That's always my favorite.
I like, you're supposed to be stealthy, right? But there are some instances in the game, like with the exploding duck, where you can be a little more loud. I can't remember which level it is exactly, but there's a party taking place in this big mansion, and I lured a dude up to the attic and then just pushed him off the balcony. But since the party was so loud and everyone was, inside the building, no one saw me do it.
Yeah. It's just funny how either you can get very creative or just kind of if you can imagine, doing it, like just shoving someone off a building, then you can probably just do it and get away with it. The whole thing is pretty much just being sneaky and getting away with it, which is always very exciting in a title like this.
And if you aren't aware, like Hitman is more of a sandbox kind of experience. You have levels where you have a target objective who you have to assassinate. But like Daniel said, there's a myriad of ways you can do it. There's a suggested way, and then there's the fun way.
And now it gets even more fun because I love the fact that you have themed Nintendo outfits, and I think the one for Luigi is called the Mansion.
That's good.
Oh man,
I think this is solidly an A-tier game.
I think so too. Isn't there there's a few games in this as well? There's a lot of content worth this collection.
It's Hitman 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah, so you get a lot of content for one collection. So, I'm also thinking A tier as well. We're getting a lot of stuff in A tier, but I mean, we're looking at a pretty solid launch for the Switch too, honestly.
Yeah, by the time I get to the end of this, I'd be curious to compare it to other Nintendo launches, because just like glancing at it, like this might be one of the best they've ever had.
Absolutely.
But the next game doesn't exist, so you can just drop it in D, and then we can move on. Kunitsugami.
Oh, but have you heard a lot about this title, Brandon?
I have not really, to be honest with you. I have not played it. I don't even really know what kind of game it is.
I mean, I've seen the visuals of it. It has a very beautiful visual art style. It kind of reminds me of Okami in some senses. But as far as the title itself, I haven't really... I think this might be the one I'm least familiar with of this whole list.
It's wild too, because it got generally good reviews.
Yeah, this is available on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. By Capcom as well. Capcom's been really pushing out some bangers these days.
Capcom might be on the hottest streak they've ever had in their entire time as a publisher and developer. Because I don't really know anything about Kunitsugami, but I know it was received well, my gut says to just put it in B. Yeah. If you've played Kunitsugami, let us know in the comments below if we should play it. We probably should.
I've been hearing a lot about it, and I do think that from public opinion, this is something that we should be giving a shot. But we will put it in a B tier, middle of the road. It might belong somewhere higher. You're allowed to yell at us if so.
We encourage it.
This is a game that we're not too familiar with, but if you want to know a series we are familiar with, Brandon, I think it's Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart World. We got some information about this game today thanks to the Ask Developers interview.
Oh yeah.
This game's been in development for 8 years.
How poetic that this game has been. What do you do with the game in 8 years? They developed Breath of the Wild in less time than Mario Kart World.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. Breath of the Wild came out in, 6 years?
5 or 6 years, yeah.
5.5, yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom was longer. It was 6 years, but still less time than Mario Kart World, which is insane to me.
Obviously, we know now that it started as a Switch 1 game. They couldn't accomplish all the things they wanted to do with it, so they pushed it to Switch 2 back in 25 years ago. This moved to Switch 2. But, we haven't played a new Mario Kart game since, 2013, 2014?
My God. You would talk about being a different man. That is...
No kid. I was in college still.
Oh my God.
And, this game looks fantastic. Every time we see it, I'm so excited to explore the big open world, just hang out with friends in this cozy little driving game that occasionally becomes a chaotic disaster piece. This is an S tier. I don't really think there's no contest.
There's no question for this, absolutely. As far as content, I think one of the other things we also learned very recently, there's like over 200 songs that just kind of play in the world, and they're just taken from across the Mario universe. We've seen little snippets of it here and there, music from Mario Galaxy, from Yoshi's Island, and if they're covering the entire like Mario series, this is going to be like the most incredible soundtrack, like the Mario soundtrack that's ever been made.
Yeah, and they said a lot of them were like live recordings, which is insane. I've been listening to the Star Fox Assault soundtrack lately while working, and that live music recording, it just like, it makes the difference. So I'm so excited to hear all the songs in Mario Kart World. I do hope there's a way for us to play them, like, at will, while driving around.
We need that radio. Like, you got that long highway, you gotta get your radio started and play your favorite tracks. There's gotta be something there to allow you to choose playlists or something. You just haven't seen. You haven't seen. It's crazy to think that no matter what you've seen or played at events and whatnot, that's just the very tip of the iceberg thus far, probably.
They've mentioned like there's 30 something tracks, but like it's an open world, and if you really break it down with all the pathways you can take, there's probably closer to 100 tracks. We don't know how they're going to update this game in the future, but I have a feeling like that this game is going to have a lot of, like, how do you put it? Like fan-made content. Mm-hmm. Like we've been talking about doing hide and seek. There's so many ways that you can just make stuff up in Mario Kart World. It's more of a playground than the games have ever been.
Yeah, I love to do, if there's a way to do it, I love to do like a sort of like tag where someone's it and you have to like either run into or hit someone with an item and then there it's. I don't know.
Fun.
There's a lot of little, that is, even just now, there's a lot of little things we can think up and just kind of do in an open world Mario Kart that we could never do before in another one. So yeah, very, very much looking forward to and excited for this one.
If there were ever an S-tier game, it's Mario Kart World. However, the next game is also developed by Nintendo, and I don't know if it's as welcoming as its name suggests. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour will cost you $9.99 on the eShop, and it tells you about your Switch 2. Yeah,
and that's pretty much it. You don't want to have a little tour on top of a Joy-Con 2, Brandon?
I played Welcome Tour at the press event, and some of the mini games are fun. Like there's some mouse mini games, like frame rate based mini games, but it's not clear like how much is actually in here. Mm-hmm. And because of that, like, the game just isn't very exciting to me. Like, I want the experience of being introduced to the platform and all the cool features and whatnot. Like, I like the idea of something like that. But why do I have to pay for it?
Yeah, I can imagine. I still hear Reggie rolling around in his living room and yelling, "Why, Nintendo? Why don't just live a packet?"
Would it really have killed them to put the $10 pack into the $500 Mario Kart bundle?
Yeah, at the very least, because honestly, all the stuff I've seen there, I mean, it's. I feel like I've kind of already witnessed the showcase. If there's more than that, I don't really know what there is to gain from it. The coolest thing I saw was the whole like displaying World 1-1 of Mario Brothers in like an actual pixel ratio where it's really tiny. That looked funny, honestly. But there's not a lot here that I can say that I need to play.
It's not entirely clear like what the scope of the game is, and because of the price tag and just the whole weird nature around it, I wouldn't put this above a C.
Yeah, I was thinking a C tier as well. The C is looking nice and empty and very much Welcome Tour shaped, so I'm probably just gonna settle it in there, honestly.
Sorry, Welcome Tour. Our opinions might change. Like in 2 weeks, we'll play the game, and maybe there's more there than we know. Like,
oh man, maybe it's an S tier after all. Just imagine.
You mentioned the World 1-1 like thing, and I was like, well, what if they did that with the entire Zelda 1 map?
Wow. Yeah. Like how much of that can fit there? What if they did it vertically and you can do like Kid Icarus, just it goes upward instead? There's a lot of fun things they could do with that.
Come on, Nintendo. If this stuff isn't in there, then you failed. Sorry. Moving on, we've got Nobunaga's Ambition. Daniel, have you ever played one of these before?
This is one of those series that I can't say I'm very familiar with, honestly. Have you played these? Or at least one of these titles?
The closest I would have gotten is my limited experience with Pokemon Conquest.
Oh, I guess that's true. That's the only way that I kind of have an idea of what the game is like then. I've seen plenty of this already. I think Steve was excited for this one. I don't know if it's words in Steve's mouth. I feel like he was excited for one of these titles that I was less familiar with.
Is this one real-time strategy or is it more grid-based? Because it looks more real-time just based on these screenshots.
I think it's real-time.
See, that's how little we know about Nobunaga's Ambition.
We don't even know if it's like real-time or not. It's done by Koei Tecmo. This is this actually also supports mouse mode. That's interesting.
Yeah, this would be a good showpiece for something like that. RTS style games and things of that nature are never super comfortable like on consoles, but having the ability to just turn your Joy-Con on its side and start mousing around, I think adds a lot of value.
This game also is the sort of complete edition. It has DLC involved as well, but you also get all that along with this edition for Switch 2, so that's always a good value as well.
This is a game that is apparently also coming out on the original Switch, or is it already available on it?
I think... Wait, was it also available there?
Yep, it's coming to both.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I think right now it's also on PS5, but... Or it will also be available on PS5, but now it's going to be on Switch 1 and 2. So that's good, too.
This is one that I, again, would feel more comfortable just slotting in B with my limited knowledge of Nobunaga's Ambition.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to slide it in there with the other ones that the other one we're not as familiar with.
One that we're a little more familiar with, though, is Puyo Puyo Tetris. Was it S2? Or 2S?
2S.
Nintendo 2 Switch. So this is a new version of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. What more can you really say about it? Like it adds just a couple of modes. Like you can play on the same board as another person at the same time in mouse mode. And one of the bigger things is it will support game share both locally and online. So the entirety of the game would theoretically be playable with up to 4 players with just one version of the game. So that's cool. I don't know if that's $60 with no upgrade path cool.
That's a lot for Puyo Puyo Tetris. I remember playing the original as well. I enjoyed the original Puyo Puyo Tetris 1 and 2 on Switch a whole lot. I love Puyo Puyo. The combination of that with Tetris has always been very interesting to me. It has a bunch of funny characters, a zany story. I guess you can call it a story, but it's really just a big mishmash of these characters from different aspects of the Puyo Puyo series, kind of put into one. You can even play as Sonic in one of the versions as well. But yeah, I mean, me and John were looking at this when it was re-reeled and just like, what do you mean 2S? What is different about it that you need to re-release it at full price on Switch 2? Because I mean, it's fun and there are still an active audience that plays this online, but I don't know if the $60 price point is worth this so-called like upgraded enhanced version, honestly.
Yeah, I think Sega's being a little scummy bummy with this game. I would have been fine with like a $10 upgrade fee, but as it is, I think I'd be going down to C.
It hurts because I do enjoy the series quite a bit, but honestly, like the value of it just doesn't feel worth. I think your money is better worth going to one of these games up here instead. if you're, especially if you're paying full price for a puzzle game. Not to knock down puzzle games. I love puzzle games, but yeah, I just don't see
a version of a
value.
puzzle game that you can probably buy for cheaper on Switch 1 and still play it on your Switch 2.
Yeah, and you still will get pretty much a very complete experience for what you purchase. So
Sorry, Puyo, but we had to burst your bubble.
oh man, good one.
Moving on, we've got Rune Factory. I have only ever played the original Rune Factory. What's your experience with this series, Daniel?
I played a couple of them beforehand. It's a really interesting. I think this became like a spin-off off of games like Harvest Moon, and it became a series where it's somewhat not super much like Stardew Valley, but it also is as much like your sim, your farming sim, your little cozy life at home, build up your community, your crops and everything, and also some action RPG elements into it as well. So there's just as much fighting as there is the farm sim aspect of it. But this one seemed to be way different. It kind of leans into a different kind of genre of culture. It looks way more inspired from like classical Japan style, which we don't really see
feudal.
in feudal Japan. And we don't really see that often with Rune Factory. It's mostly just like it's fantasy, your typical like fantasy setting that we've seen in other games. But yeah, they're taking a whole new direction with this. It feels a lot more like they're leaning more towards the action aspect of it. When I first saw that trailer, there was a lot more of that than what we've seen previously. But yeah, I'm interested in playing this. I've dabbled with the other games in the series as well. But yeah, this is like a new kind of turn for the genre, honestly.
This is also a game that's coming to Nintendo Switch 1, but it will offer an upgrade path to Nintendo Switch 2, which is great to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's $60 on Switch, $70 on Switch 2. Upgrade pack's $10, so all the maths out on that. I think it is a little weird to have two like feudal Japan styled games, actually three, all coming at launch. So they might be like fighting for space there between Kunitsugami, Nobunaga's Ambition, and Rune Factory. Among the three, though, I think Rune Factory is probably the most interesting. We need a life sim on Switch 2, and having this at launch is pretty nice. I would probably teeter between B and A here.
Yeah, I mean, there's also mouse mode features, and you can romance in this game as well. I don't think you can romance in the other games that look like this, so I'm just gonna slide you over in an A tier right now. How's that? How you feel about that, huh?
Guardians of A tier. Good job, Rune Factory. Going back in an RTS direction a little bit, we've got Civ 7. And this is cool, mostly because of mouse mode. Like, Civ is a game that is historically been like a PC game because, you need that kind of mouse control. So having that on Switch 2 is really cool. Civ games, I haven't played a Civ game myself, but like I was really close to buying Civ 6. But Civ 7, having mouse control on Switch 2, this might be the one that gets me to bite.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see more titles that are just like meant for that kind of PC mode experience. And we're starting to see that with games like this, where it just seamlessly blends into a title where mouse mode is available. And it's great to see that kind of feature happen so early in the Switch cycle, where it's just going to be like mainly done, and a wonderful showcase for mouse mode. Civ isn't really a series that I touch too often, honestly, but this might be something that I want to dabble with, is at least to see how they integrate mouse mode, how natural it feels doing that with a Joy-Con controller.
Yeah, this could open the door to more games. Like, I'd love it if Roller Coaster Tycoon got a mouse mode update on Switch 2.
Oh, yes.
So I think this one's an easy A tier.
I'm gonna slide you up to an A tier. I'm gonna defer to your opinion. It's not really any order. I'm just gonna put it right there.
Next up is Sonic and Shadow Generations. This is This is another one where Sega is kind of being a little baby and not giving Switch 1 owners an upgrade path to Switch 2. That sucks. I don't like that at all. They should be slapped in the face for that.
It sucks to say that because, like, I do agree, and yet, like, Shadow Generations is probably the best Sonic game I've played ever for what it is.
Shadow Generations is probably the best, like you said, best Sonic game ever. Definitely the best Sonic game in the last decade.
Yeah. But the best that's done the boost formula, as we'll probably say specifically. But it's a short campaign, but there's like not really any fluff. The courses are so solid in this. The bosses are like a big spectacle. If you're familiar with the Sonic series, obviously you get a lot more of that fan service from throughout Shadow's history. And overall, it's a very solid title. It also has Sonic Generations added with it. It feels like it's Shadow Generations with Sonic, the bigger game, attached to it. But it really is mostly for Shadow Generations for me, honestly. But I don't see myself paying the full price again for, especially if you have it on Switch. That just sucks.
Yeah, if you have it on Switch, I couldn't honestly recommend you paying full price to get the Switch 2 version. However, to me, Sonic and Shadow Generations is an A tier game, but this is a B tier because of that.
A tier game, but B tier decisions. So unfortunately, Sonic, we're gonna have to put you back down here in the middle. Feel like Shadow just got held back. It's unfortunate.
He got held back by price tag. Now, if you don't have Sonic and Shadow Generations, if you haven't played it at all and you were waiting to pick it up, this is a great place to pick it up. So, like, definitely get it if you haven't. But if you already have it, nah. Next up is Split Fiction. This is a game I haven't played yet, but it is a game I intend to play because I have played A Way Out. I have played... oh god, what was the next one?
It Takes Two?
It Takes Two, yeah. And I love those games, so I know I'm going to like Split Fiction. This game is so cool on Switch 2 because, like, visually it's really impressive just in general. Like, a game that has split screen like this doing as much as it is, that doesn't happen very often anymore because, you know, split screen is very taxing on game consoles. So the fact that this is happening here, super cool. It also features the friend pass, so if you buy the game, another friend can just join you and play for free. In addition to that, it also has game share for some reason. So a second player could join you on their Nintendo Switch 1 via game share, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love all the options you have available to play this with somebody else because you pretty much need someone else to play. You can't play a single player. You need to have somebody there with you. And so I haven't played this yet. I don't have someone that I can play it with. I would love to because, A Way Out and It Takes Two are fantastic games and just continues that genre of like having two separate characters and two different perspectives, but they're also kind of cooperating with, despite the fact they have different controls, they're always doing something like to help progress the story cooperatively. And sometimes there's fun little competitive mini games in these as well. I think Split Fiction is the same way. And I just love the premise as well. One person is the sci-fi writer, one is the fantasy writer. They're both authors, and they're kind of in the world of their creations. And so, as someone who's dabbled with like sci-fi writing before and fantasy to an extent, it's really cool to see a title like this kind of put a focus on writers. That hits me in a personal place as well. And it looks great. I know there's been a lot of great opinions on this game, and I'm just looking forward to hopefully playing this with somebody on Switch too, because I want to see just how much how the performance of this game is on the new console.
Yeah, I think this one's an easy A tier. Like, Switch is obviously like a very multiplayer focused console, and you don't get narrative experiences in co-op very often. So Split Fiction is a great option, especially on launch day.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have another co-op game that I still don't know how I feel about, and that's Survival Kids.
What's your... You got some experience with the Survival Kids?
Well, it was only recently that most of us even realized that Survival Kids is an existing franchise.
Oh, man.
It's a 1999 Game Boy Color game.
Stranded Kids is also another title, another way it was known back then, I think in Europe.
Yep, that's its European name.
Never knew that.
It's so funny because like Survival Kids on Game Boy Color is charming. You know, it has that cutesy look that you'd expect from a Game Boy Color game. It's just really appealing. And then you look at Survival Kids on Switch 2 and you want to throw up. It's just so generic looking.
Yeah, it does have that kind of generic feel to it. I'm just like, how did this happen compared to the Game Boy Color? Who said that? Hey, we need to revive this series from the Game Boy Color and bring it to Switch 2.
This is Revival Kids. It sucks too, because like I like survival craft games. I've played a lot of them with friends. They're just good time killers. They're cooperative. They're cozy usually, but nothing here is really standing out to me. This is a game I'm definitely going to just see what the reception is and then maybe get it later.
I usually like, and I'm very interested in games where they have a sort of like crafting system, but this hasn't really shown it in a way that is really appealing, honestly. It just kind of is going to be one of those games that's just there on launch. But yeah, I'm not too confident in putting it any higher than a C tier.
I think even C tier might be generous, but I'd be willing to put it in C tier.
You know what? We can give it a friend down here if we want to.
Survival Kids D tier. It's official. Watch this be like game of the year for some reason.
Oh man, it's got like a dark plot that we need to play that we just don't know about yet because they haven't revealed it. That'd be incredible.
Next up is Street Fighter 6. Super cool to have this game on Switch 2. Funnily enough, like when the 3DS came out, that launch lineup was hot garbage, by the way, for 3DS. If you weren't around back then.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 3D was like the only game I was even remotely interested in. So it's kind of fun to have another Street Fighter game get a version for Nintendo's newly launched handheld.
Yeah, I've been playing. I played a lot of Street Fighter 6 on launch, and this one's actually going to have all of its DLC and characters in it just at the start, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you play fighting games, you know that their DLCs are really expensive.
Yeah, this is definitely worth the price of admission. If you haven't played Street Fighter 6 especially, and it does look really good too. I love how they've kind of just that really unique art style that they have. It's so smooth and clean. I figured it would be hard to capture on a console, on a Nintendo console, but they're really pulling through with this one. And I think there's even some more accessibility options as well. Like you can, or rather, there's just different options. Like with gyro, there's like the calorie contest that you can do as well.
Oh yeah,
there's just those funny things that Nintendo likes to add for their specific ones. Like I think touch controls were also in the 3DS version. Mm-hmm. This is just one of those things where they're making use of the hardware and just adding something fun to it.
Yeah, I played this at the press event, and I did the calorie mode. Where the objective is just to shake the Joy-Con better than the other guy. Just really silly.
Riveting.
But from a value proposition, this is a great way to have Street Fighter 6. Getting all that content bundled in is a great value. The game runs and looks better than it does on Xbox Series S, which is insane to me.
That's crazy.
I love Street Fighter 6. I'm between A and S on this one, actually.
A and an S tier. Oh my goodness. Like I do enjoy. I've done the entire like world tour, and I've done some online as well. I'm still not particularly good at Street Fighter 6, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth that value, having all those extra characters, that content. That's a huge value just in having in one bundle together. But I don't know. I still would say probably an A tier. I guess it depends how much you're really attached to like the fighting game community and this game in particular.
That's fair. I mean, A is perfectly respectable. Like, Street Fighter 6 coming to Switch 2 at all is insane. The fact that it's coming in such a great state is insane. A tier, perfectly suitable. The next two we're going to bundle together, and a fist fight might break out. So be careful, everybody. We've got The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. They're both getting the exact same performance and visual updates on Switch 2, as well as Zelda Notes. I love both of these games. I love Tears of the Kingdom just a little bit more, personally. But, like, Breath of the Wild was a game changer of a video game. But it didn't run very well. And now we're going to have a version of the game that runs at 60 frames per second in 1440p. We're even skipping 1080p and just going straight to 1440, which is crazy. And we're getting it for both Breath of the Wild and its sequel. Having them both at launch, I think, is a smart move. Including the upgrades with the expansion pack is a great thing. But one of them is an 8-year-old game, and the other is a 2-year-old game. So depending on how you feel about that, you might not put this very high. And Daniel set fire to the earth with his video recently. So I'm curious what you think, man.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're here to talk about this one specifically, because you've seen these in person already on the Switch 2 with Steve. Just witnessing that running at that resolution in that frame rate, like how was your first impression of that, just witnessing that, and were you immediately telling yourself that you need to play this again when the Switch 2 launches?
I mean, we have video proof of what happened when we saw it for the first time. That shot of Link running out onto the Great Plateau in 60 frames per second in 1080p on handheld with HDR, it was a completely different experience than it was the first time. It's bringing new life to a game I love. And for me, that's very exciting. I'm also in a unique position where I haven't replayed Breath of the Wild since it came out, and I've never played through Master Mode. So this would be a good opportunity for me to relive that. However, I can't use that really to affect my ranking. But I know you're kind of done with this version of Hyrule.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna retread the entire video all over again, aren't we?
Uh-oh.
No, just the fact that I've experienced this version of Hyrule for like the last 8 years now or so. But that doesn't take away the value of what these games brought. I hope that was clear in the video as well. Like, these games are changing the way that developers are approaching games in general. Like, Breath of the Wild was just for a Zelda game, just a completely new take on its genre, on the open worlds in general. And I think Breath of the Wild just serves more as like that new first experience. Like, that's the first time that we've ever experienced that, running out on that cliff, seeing everything, just thinking to yourself that you can go to every single spot that you're seeing out there in the distance. Like, that's a magical feeling. And they try to capture that again with Tears of the Kingdom, but in the long run, I think they are just kind of retreading certain ground, or retreading the whole field of Hyrule, honestly, with some remixed areas. There's more caves, there's the depths as well, which, depending on who you ask, was kind of not all that interesting once you finally once you explore the full breadth of it, honestly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, if you've played both of these games already, if you played it all the way through and you feel like you've had your fill, then that's probably something that you probably wouldn't want to do again. If the visuals, if the enhancements are something that appeal to you, then obviously I'm not going to stop anyone or shame anyone for going out and playing it again. But I guess in your case, you haven't really played the full range of this game. Breath of the Wild has like the Champions Ballad, which unfortunately is not included in this either.
Nintendo. Why? I guess the only like reasoning I can come up with that is they didn't want to muddy the waters with the upgrade path.
Yeah.
And they didn't want people to feel like they got a raw deal if they did buy the DLC and then found out it came with the upgrade pack. Like, I can see the reasoning. But it's an 8-year-old game, man.
You can't just... You're going to sell a DLC for an 8-year-old title. You got games like Street Fighter 6 that has DLC released very recently, and it's just going to be on the cartridge, or, well, in the game release itself. But Nintendo's always going to be very stingy with their own property and stuff, which is unfortunate because, yeah, they're being very generous with, like, the free upgrade on day one if you have the game already, but this with the expansion pack. But I don't know.
I do think there's some intrigue, like with being able to share items between you and your friends, and sharing schematics and Tears of the Kingdom, and then of course Zelda notes, the voice memories, where there will be memories all over Hyrule. So there's a new collectible now, and they're all voiced, and I think that's pretty appealing. But, you know, if you've had your fill of this version of Hyrule, I don't think that's really enough to bring you back.
I'll definitely dabble with it. I'll play around, and I'll get some of the notes, the voice portions that are scattered around Hyrule for both, like, Zelda, I think, Rauru, and also...
Master Koga.
Master Koga are going to all have voice clips in various areas. But I can't see myself doing a whole lot more, honestly. But at the same time, I haven't even seen it myself. Like, maybe my tune will change as I'm playing it and witnessing those visuals for the first time. But as it stands right now, I'll probably just stand back and observe other people playing it more so.
I think as a showpiece, and for people who really love these games, getting to have them at their full potential is a very exciting thing. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. However, they are both old games, right? They're not necessarily getting new content outside of the Zelda Notes features. But, you know, if you're buying a Switch 2 and you already have these games, there's a good chance you probably have the expansion pack for NSO. So you're just going to have them. Would I suggest you paying $10 to upgrade them if you're not going to play them? Probably not. So, like, me, this is an A tier, just because, like, I want to experience it. But I think if I'm being realistic, B tier probably makes more sense.
I was prepared to fight you for putting it like at least at a B tier. Yeah, honestly, it's just a person by person basis, I feel like, for this in particular, depending on how much you've played, what you value. Do you value the enhanced visuals, performance? It's
hard, though. I'm looking at a game like Bravely Default and Sonic Generations, and I'm like,
we're gonna put
I'd rather play Zelda.
You can at least put it at a higher B tier at the very least, but...
Top of B. Definitely above the rest of the games in the ranking.
Yeah, I know there are others that would put it a lot higher. Some people would put it as an S tier, of course, because it is Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but at the end of the day, like, it's just where we stand. It's where everyone at GBG, they don't get their opinion voiced right now. It's just us two.
As games, these are S tiers for me all the way. There's no contest. As launch titles for a new platform, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Next up, and last on our list here, is Yakuza 0. This is the second Yakuza game to come to a Nintendo platform, right? Because was it Kiwami came out recently?
Yeah, Kiwami. I probably should have put... I don't know why I didn't put Zelda last, because that was a long conversation. Yeah. Yakuza has really kind of just grown into its own. Like, people have really just become fans of Yakuza in its various forms, like a dragon especially. And
You
having
want to talk
Yakuza
about rehashing your content.
yeah, yeah. Especially the journey this game has gone. At first, Yakuza was just never going to be on a Switch console, like ever, according to the devs, or the directors and whatnot. But now it's just really, we're getting more and more releases here on Switch, including Yakuza 0. But it's just been really fun to see where this has gone and where the series has gone, especially for the Switch path it's taken. But what's your experience with Yakuza?
I have played a little bit of Yakuza Kiwami, not on Switch, but the thing about Yakuza that keeps me away is the monumental task that it will be to catch up.
There are so many titles.
And
they're so long.
Yeah.
Very long.
I know Yakuza would be 100% up my alley. It's just that barrier to entry feels so high. However, Yakuza 0 is a place to start. Like, you can start with Yakuza 0 from a story perspective. So it is appealing to me from that perspective. This is also the best version, like, visually of this game. We were told at the press event that it runs at a native 4K 60 FPS, and it was beautiful. Looked fantastic. Wow. And it's getting new content. Man,
yeah, I feel like they've put so much heart and soul into Yakuza itself at this point. It's really, as I said, it's a series that was kind of a bit more niche early on, but now there's such a rapidly growing fan base for the series, and it's been amazing to see. And it just feels like a great deal, like especially considering how large the series is. As you mentioned, it's a great starting point. If you've been interested in the series, if there's something about this that appeals to you and you've been wanting to get your feet wet with it, this is definitely the one to do so, especially with all that extra content.
One of the new pieces of content is Red Light Raid, which is its multiplayer mode. It's like I believe it is a wave-based, like, not tower defense, but like a wave-based brawler type mode. And there are 60 playable characters.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
Oh my gosh.
If you've played Yakuza 0, I don't know that would be enough for, enough to bring you back and buy it on Switch 2. But if you're new to Yakuza 0 or Yakuza as a whole, this is a great way to start. And I'm tempted. I'm really tempted.
I feel what you're I feel what you're feeling. I personally would say this is a solid A tier in my opinion, but what do you think?
I think it's an A tier as well. Adding an entire multiplayer mode, regardless of how big in scope it is, that said, it has 60 playable characters, so there must be some meat in there. Mm-hmm. Like that enough, I think, is worth some extra points. Like, say the two Zelda games, if they had actual, like, extra playable content, I probably would have fought for an A little harder.
Yeah, definitely. But at the end of the day, I think we have a list here. Is there anything here that, now that we've placed everything, do you have any second thoughts as far as placement for any of these titles?
Do I have any second thoughts? Let's see. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about this whole thing. I do feel a little bad about putting Bravely Default in B, but it's still, like, there's some elements of that remaster that are making me like, eh.
Yeah, there's a lot about that they could have done. They could have definitely done more with it. I know they're adding new stuff like the mini games and whatnot, the mouse mode, but I mean, it still looks like a 3DS game up-res.
Yeah, and the AI upscaling is a big turn off for me.
Same.
Yeah, overall, I think I'm pretty cool with this list. Is there anything you wanted to change?
Nothing in particular, honestly. I love that we both just immediately agreed Deltarune would just be here at our S tier, along with Mario Kart as well.
It's a big deal.
It's yeah. I think those games deserve that spot. Personally speaking, I'm very excited to jump into both of those. And yeah, there's just a lot of really solid titles for a launch lineup. The various genres here, you got your racing games, fighting games, open world, JRPGs, a puzzle game, Yeah, just a nice mix of stuff here. Also for multiplayer, which is basically what the Switch 2 is promoting you do. Get those Joy-Cons out.
You could argue like it's really just missing like a major 3D platformer, but Nintendo's delivering that with Donkey Kong Bonanza not even a month later, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty well-rounded. You also have the 11 Switch 1 free upgrades that we're getting, including games like Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. When you look at it like holistically and include all that stuff, plus we have GameCube NSO. Like, if that were on this tier list, I'd put that in S rank. There's going to be so much to do with your Switch 2 on launch day. It's kind of insane.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Now that you mentioned GameCube NSO, I'm just like, I also need to place that in there, don't I?
We're just gonna like write GameCube NSO in S tier. Oh, he's looking now.
Hold on. We need to make the magic happen. There we go.
We're doing it. He had
Super
it ready.
S tier. There you go, everybody.
Why did you have that?
You would assume Daniel doesn't always have GameCube ready to go at any given moment.
Well, I love the GameCube too, but I don't keep a PNG of the logo sitting in my computer somewhere.
Well, some of us are built different, Brandon.
I guess you're right. Let us know in the comments below, do you agree with our tier rankings? I'm certain that you don't, and you have a lot to say, so let us know down in the comments. If you're new here, please subscribe. We've got a lot of Switch 2 coming for all your Switch 2 news, reviews, and everything in between. Keep it here to GBG. Until then, keep the games good and the vibes greater. Bye now.
Take care till we meet again.